Listen to her, contact her, and run. You know, about 10 years ago, when I first did run for the New Hampshire House, I sat in front of a polling station, Central School in New Boston, and I watched a car with Montana tags pull up every 45 minutes. And some young people got out, they'd go in, they'd come out, and then they'd come back again another 45 minutes. So I went to town moderator, somebody that ran for state senate out in Boston this past time, didn't get elected unfortunately, Lee Nyquist, Democrat, and I said, Lee, does this concern you at all? And he said, no, it doesn't concern me. And thus, I was introduced to the issue of voter fraud in New Hampshire. Because when I was elected that year, I was put on the election law committee. Actually, Representative Baum was right here in front of me. You started that year too, I think, and we're both on. And it's not a committee I sought, it was a committee I was put on, but I decided to work on it and to do the best job I could. We started having folks like Ed Nail come before us and talk about instances of voter fraud, and it was shocking to me. And I was shocked about how long, how uniform and long-standing this evidence of fraud was. And I was shocked, and continue to be, as to the cavalier and dismissive attitude that election officials in New Hampshire take to this issue of voter fraud. And when we looked into it, again, I was shocked about how lax our voting laws are. They're lax when they define who can vote. New Hampshire residents are not the only ones who can vote in New Hampshire elections. Others can come in. They call them domiciliaries, these instantaneous voters. And I was shocked about how anyone could show up and on their own word claim citizenship and claim residency and then vote and never be found again. So this last term, we worked on that. And we passed a voter ID law. We passed a law that defined what residency was. And then the attack began. The attack began over in the Superior Court, the Stratford County near the seacoast. We had a former Democrat activist who's now put on black robes who said that you didn't do it quite right, so we're going to invite non-New Hampshire residents to vote in our elections. We'll see where that goes. It's up at the Supreme Court. And then the attack began as we went back to this last session, and unfortunately, a combination of Democrats and liberal Republicans have revoked the voter ID law, a good law, a law that says show up with a voter ID, and in fact, if you don't have one, we'll let you vote anyway. We're just going to make a voter ID for you. We'll take your picture, we'll take your information, we'll put it in the files. Next time you show up, we'll have a voter ID for you. And that was just too much integrity. You know, these battles, someone once talked about the battle for liberty being a twilight struggle. This battle will go on for a long time, and the tendency is at times to walk away, shake your head, and say, we can't do anything, but we can. We've made small step forward. We have to continue to do that. All of you folks who are the activists have to continue to work, run for office, support those who are running for office, so that we can reverse this in so many different areas where our liberty is being taken from us. Even with the time that this law has been in place, look at what we've shown. And I want you to talk to your neighbors about this. Because one of the things we put into the law is a requirement that the Secretary of State send off a letter to everyone who registers by using these affidavits. They don't have any ID. They just come up and say, I am Bill O'Brien. Believe me. I live in this town. Believe me. Sign an affidavit. Give an address. So we said, we'll send them a letter. 1,800 of those letters came back addressee unknown. 25 others, the people who received it, 2,500 others, people who received it, have not even returned it. So we're dealing with over 4,000 voters in November of last year who we can't say who they are. And if you look at House races, if you look at how many votes it takes to win a House race, it is often just a handful of votes. If you spread those 4,000 over the districts that we won or lost, this past election, you will see enough votes that if those were fraudulent, that there would be a Republican majority this time in the New Hampshire House. That's how important these issues are. That's why we have to continue these battles. So we're going to do that. Talk to those who were in our party who couldn't stay the course with us. Tell them why it was important that they did. Find out people who will stay the course with us. That's how important these issues are. You know, it's fun. There's some fundamental rights. You know, certainly the Second Amendment right is fundamental. It keeps our government in check. It's not so we can go hunting. It's to keep our government in check. Our First Amendment right is fundamental. We get to say what we want. And also fundamental is our right to choose our elected representatives. They are attacking that fundamental right. We can't walk away from this battle. I'm concerned enough about these issues that I was willing to push forward on them as Speaker. I'm concerned enough about these issues on the national scene that I'm willing to go down to Washington to work New Hampshire values into the political conversation down there. I'm concerned that runaway spending and out-of-control debt is taking away the American dream of prosperity for our children and their children. I'm concerned that a lack of confidence in America, this lack of understanding of what we mean when we say American exceptionalism, is taking away America as the beacon of freedom for the world. If there's not America, where do we go for freedom? And we're losing that. And I'm concerned that we are sacrificing liberty at home and liberty abroad for the comfort of government benefits. We get that. Our current member of Congress in the 2nd Congressional District doesn't get that. We deserve better. I'm going to be talking to all of you. I'm going to be talking to people in the 2nd District and throughout New Hampshire. And see if there's the support, if there's the same concern that I have for those issues. If there is, I look forward to having a long conversation with the people of New Hampshire and seeing if they are willing to choose new representation in the 2nd Congressional District. Many important issues in front of us, many important elections. It's great to see an activist group here today, and all of you who are willing to stay the course, work with us, change what's happening in New Hampshire and our country. Thank you.